Yeah, give it a good ride. To the left of that 415-foot marker out there. Now there's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Bronya. Bobby Bonilla is on deck, and then Jeff Kent. This is the power of the Mets batting order coming up in the 6th. At Yankee Stadium today, Jimmy Key had a 5-1 lead over Texas along about the 6th inning. And just all of a sudden, he started getting hit hard. They got him out of there, and the Rangers had made it a 5-3 game.
Well, I detect a little chink in Billy Swift's armor here too, John, because all of a sudden he's starting to change speeds. He's throwing more changeups. He's throwing more breaking balls. That tells me that he doesn't have quite the confidence in his fastball that he had earlier in the game.
Right through the middle. Base hit. And for the 5th time in 6 innings, the Mets leadoff man has reached base. And making some phone calls down there in that Rockies dugout. Mike Munoz, a left-hander, is up in the bullpen. There he is. Larry Bernard, the pitching coach for the Rockies. There's Bernard. He was one of the early Mets. Bonilla high in the air to center. Kingery. And Bonilla again is out very early. I mean, he's been going up there swinging at that first pitch against Swift. The last 2 times he's flied out against it.
Well, Swift has thrown strikes with the fastball, and Bonilla, sitting on the fastball, swings at the first pitch each time.
1 out, 1 on. Jeff Kent, the hitter. Each team has 7 hits in this game, but the Mets have never had more than 2 hits in any 1 inning. And they've had a hit in every inning, but never more than 2. The Rockies have bunched their hits together. They've had a lot of extra base hits. Rockies have hit 3 doubles.
Well, you see a different Billy Swift here, John. He needs the ground ball for the double play, but he starts him off with a slider. Again, that's not the pattern that he was using early in the ball game, and that's not the normal Billy Swift pattern. I really think he's starting to struggle a little bit.
Bronya with his lead from first.
Another off-speed pitch. But he does know how to change speeds and keep the hitters off balance. So when he doesn't feel as comfortable with his sinker, he goes to another pitch. You can see that's an off-speed pitch, curveball, or well, it's more of a slider, but a slower slider. It wasn't his hard slider.
1 ball, 1 strike to count to Kent. Kingery, a lot of room out there. Out number 2. Well, like Tiger Stadium in Detroit, which is a great home run ballpark, it's deep to center there, though. If you can make him hit it straight away, you're in pretty good shape. 2 men down. The batter will be David Segui. Well, we told you that they invited us to sample the cuisine here, the Rocky Mountain oysters. And there it is, Rockies Mountain Oysters. It's a special place right here in Coors Field, Joe. I feel honored that they brought some up to us.
I agree.
To sample. David Segui takes a strike. Segui is 1 for 2. He argues that call with the amateur umpire. I saw a highlight today when I was watching some of that Yankees-Rangers game on ESPN, Joe, from the Orioles-Kansas City game. And Cal Ripken got into it pretty hot and heavy with the amateur umpire there after being called out on strikes.
You say amateur umpires, that mean they do not get paid? Amateur athletes do not get paid.
Well, but, I mean, these guys, they work, they don't make their living.
Oh, okay. I was just saying there.
See what I'm saying?
I hope they're getting paid.
It's like when you and I go out to eat. We're amateur eaters. You know, unlike, say, a guy who reviews restaurants.
A connoisseur, right?
Who is a professional.
Okay, all right.
Makes his living at it.
Okay.
You know, that wouldn't be a bad way to make a living.
Yes. I was just trying to distinguish you know, the term amateur athlete from amateur umpire.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure these guys are going to get paid.
Hit the bag.
Look at Billy Swift all the way over there. Almost caught it in the air, John. See, that's what I was telling you about how good a fielder he is and how good an athlete he really is.
Made a dive for it. The ball hit the bag. The Rockies got a break there, really. Yes. The ball was headed down the right field line. A run might have scored on that play.
Take another look. Watch Galarraga as he makes a dive for it. Well, he may have been able to catch it, John, if it would have gone over the bag in the air. He was behind the bag. If the ball would not have hit the bag, he may have caught it, but more than likely they would have had it. It would have gone down into the corner. But the big cat is quick over there.
Now Larry Bernard, the pitching coach, will go to the mound to speak to Billy Swift. They've got Munoz, the left-hander, up at local time, Rocky Mountain time. So Baylor and his pitching coach talk over.
Make a mistake. Maybe a 5-4 ball game here, so you have to be careful here.
Galarraga, no play. And the bases are loaded.
Sometimes having a lot of range at first base can hurt you. I think the Rockies were hurt there because of the range. Watch how far Galarraga goes for this ball. See, if Galarraga goes to first base, the second baseman can make that play. Mejia would have been able to make an easy play on the ball if Galarraga goes to first base. But because he is such a good fielder and he does have range, Galarraga went after it. But that ball was almost straight away second base when he made the pickup.
Well, here's the Mets' chance to get back in the game. The bases are loaded. And Todd Hundley, the hitter, and Hundley is 2 for 2. Swift has not retired him. Ball 1. The Mets have their shot right here. Pitcher spot due up next. And Ricky Otero has come out of the on-deck circle. 2 down. Popped up foul and out of play on the left field side into the second deck. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fans dropped it in the second deck and let it drop back into the lower deck. Look at the fans in the lower deck. Treating them with disdain. 1 ball, 1 strike to Hundley. Bronya at third, Segui at second, Everett at first, 2 down. They'll all be running at the crack of the bat. It is 2-1 now to Hundley.
Take a look at Roberto Mejia at second base and how he prepares before Billy Swift throws the ball. Look at that position. He's sideways to the plate.
There's a long drive, and it's tied up. What a shot! A rocket by Todd Hundley. And I hope somebody up in the stands was prepared, because that one is the first grand slam hit at Coors Field. And we start over again. It's 5-5.
Well, we're in the same position as I said before, because you could see that Billy Swift was starting to lose it after the first hitter in this inning, as I mentioned. But you want him to get some work in. At least that's the only reason I can think of for him to stay in under the circumstances.
Well, we saw this last night at Joe Robbie Stadium with John Burkett. He started to tire out in the middle innings.
Yeah, that ball is up above the, right about belt high and in the middle of the plate. And Todd Hundley deposits it in the right field seats for a grand slam.
Well, now they had Otero out of the on-deck circle, but he went back into the dugout after the grand slam. Dallas Green could stay with Jerry DiPoto now if he chooses to. Baylor waiting to find out what he's going to do. Todd Hundley 3 for 3 tonight with 4 RBIs. And Joe Girardi, the catcher on the other side, is also 3 for 3. Big night for catchers here at Coors Field. It's a good ballpark to hit in if you're a catcher. Strike 1, DiPoto. there's got to be a balance, Joe. I mean, you want the pitcher to get his work so he can build up for the whole season.
Right.
But on the other hand, I mean, you got to win a ball game. These games count.
Well, that's true. That's what I said at the beginning. That's the dilemma that the managers are in right now.
I was going to litter the field myself after I saw that play. Here at Coors Field, it's 5-5. The Rockies have been tied by the Mets. Jerry DiPoto to Mike Kingery, leading it off in the last of the 6th inning. Rockies are ahead 5-1. The Mets put 3 singles together. Bronya, Segui, and then Everett with the infield single that hit the that was just a little bouncer. Remember, Segui's single also hit the bag at first base. He got some good luck along the way. And then Hundley with a rocket into the stands over the scoreboard and right. A grand slam. That's a base hit.
John, this is a very quick infield. Anything that hits the ground, once it hits the dirt, it really seems to pick up speed. Very quick infield. You're going to have get good jumps on the ball here. Let's take another look. And watch, 2 times and the ball's through the infield. Just 2 bounces.
Well, when I was asking Bonilla how the infield played, he was telling me how fast it was. I said, well, do you like that when it's fast? He says, when I'm hitting.
Well, most hitters like that. You like it fast when you're hitting and slow if you're a fielder.
Here's Vinny Castilla. There's Bobby Bonilla trying to stay warm. Trying to keep that blood circulating. It's in the 30s here in Denver. Foul back out of play by Vinny Castilla, who has not made contact into fair territory yet in his new ballpark. He has struck out twice. 5-5. This looked like it's going to be a rather simple matter. Rockies got a nice lead. Billy Swift on the mound. And then just a matter of time to chalk up the first victory at Coors Field for the hometown 9. But now it's tied. It's starting to look like one of those old Mile High Stadium games, Joe.
Yeah. Where you can't score enough, huh?
Remember the first year they had games over there. You know, it wasn't unusual for the game to be 10-4 in the 8th inning and then finish 17-12. 7 8-run innings were not unusual over there. 2 strikes. There's a throw to first, and back is Kingery. Nobody out here in the 6th. I remember seeing a video of Sid Bream hitting a home run. It had to be the weakest home run I've ever seen.
It was a grand slam, wasn't it?
I think he broke his bat, hit it off the fist. And it landed over that 220 sign down the left field line there at Mile High. At least it looked like it was that close. One thing too, in this atmosphere, there's some kids. They have a kids area here down the left field line for the kids to entertain themselves when the Rockies aren't doing well. 1-2 the count. They say that because of the altitude, a curveball pitcher can't get the same curve. The ball won't curve as much.
I've heard that. But I read it in the newspaper. I've not heard a pitcher tell me that.
Well, they were all saying it after they got bombed here. One ball and 2 strikes. DiPoto to the plate. Ooh, close. 2-2. I know, Joe, you hate that when I say it was close. Yeah.
There's no such thing as a close pitch.
Either it was or it wasn't.
It's either a ball or it's a strike.
Ron Hassey, the third base coach for the Rockies, flashing some signs to Castilla. Base hit. Back-to-back singles. And here come the Rockies. These are the first hits by the men lower in the order up until the 5th inning. Only the top 3 hitters in the order had gotten a hit. And Dallas Green may be getting ready to call the bullpen here.
John, I think this is a situation where the Rockies have to bunt. I think you have to try to get a win for Billy Swift because he was ahead in this ball game and now it's tied. So I think you have to give him an opportunity to win this game, and you have to try to score a run right here.
Well, the hitter for Don Baylor is Roberto Mejia, the 8th place hitter. But out on deck is already John Vanderwall, a would-be pinch hitter.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that Swift was going to come out of the game either way.
That's a strike. Mejia pulling back after showing the bunt. There's Vanderwall on deck, a left-handed hitter.
And remember, if you're the hitter, Mejia, you have to bunt the ball to third base. You try to make Bobby Bonilla field the ball. And, of course, they have the rotation play. And Todd Huntley and Bonilla are going to talk about it. They give a sign from the bench on whether they want Bonilla to charge, and the shortstop, Vizcaíno, will go over to 3.
Castilla down at the bottom. Nobody out. Mets infielders pulled in at the corners. 1 strike to count. Look out! He hit him. Is it a bunt? Yeah,
no,
he hit it.
You know, the most vulnerable time you're in the batter's box is when you square around to try to bunt. A lot of guys do not square completely around. Now, if you square around as Mejia does, there's no place to go. See, right there's no place for you to go. You should really take a half stand and not square around completely.
Well, you know, and I don't understand you. He had squared around before the pitcher ever threw the pitch. Look at that.
Exactly. But look at the position he's in. There's no place for you to go. Good bunters do not turn their entire body toward the pitcher. But he took one for the team. He got the job done.
He moved those runners up, and he got himself aboard without even making an out. He took over the team, and it's about 36 degrees. He may not do it again real soon. Now, John Vanderwall is announced as the pinch hitter for Billy Swift. Dallas Green's got his left-hander up in the bullpen, Eric Gunderson, and he's been joined out there by a right-hander, Blas Minor. Bases loaded, nobody out. And we'll 5-5 game.
We'll see how the Mets play this, John. Todd Huntley's going to go out and talk to the pitcher, but if you're the Mets, you guarantee he stays out there until Bovee comes back out there. See, the Mets are contending that Mejia didn't get hit and that he didn't try to get out of the way of the pitch.
Green is really
see?
slowing up now. Smiling over at Bonilla. I think Bonilla said something to him after he crossed the line. Call for the left-hander Gunderson has been made. Bases loaded, nobody out. Vanderwall a pinch hitter, Gunderson the relief pitcher. It's tied at 5. Pinch hitter announced, a left-handed hitter. And when Dallas Green made the move for the left-hander Gunderson, Don Baylor made yet another move, and he has brought in Eric Young to pinch hit for Vanderwall. This does get Vanderwall out of the game. The only other left-handed hitter available on the Rockies bench is the switch hitter, a rookie by the name of Jason Bates. Five to fighters, Eric Young. So we got a wild one going here all of a sudden at Coors Field. It was looking rather routine there for a while, but no longer. The big crowd hoping for something big to happen here with the game now tied. Eric Young, he's a guy with a lot of firsts in Rockies history, not here at Coors Field, but in the other ballpark. He was the first man who ever batted in the history of the Rockies at Shea Stadium against Dwight Gooden. And then he hit the first home run as a Rocky in Denver as a leadoff batter against Montreal's Kent Bottenfield. Hit it over the left center field fence before a crowd of 80,000 people at Mile High Stadium. So he's done some big things in Rockies annals already.
And he's been a very popular player since that time. He's also a speedy runner, so Baylor's trying to stay out of the double play as well.
Ball one. Bases loaded, nobody out. The middle infield, double play depth. At the corners, they're pulled in. Right center field. Everett back. Still going back, and he makes the catch. Two of the runners tag up. And rounding third, and now being held up and falling over. They've got him hung up. That's Castilla. Now the rundown. And Hundley tags him out. Castilla came racing around third. He was thinking about trying to score from second base on that fly ball. But then he got the stop sign from Hasse. As he put the brakes on, he just slipped and fell.
Well, first of all, that's very poor base running, John, simply because you're going to be at third base with less than 2 outs. You don't try to make something happen. If you're at second base and that's the second out of the inning and you want to try to score, that's different. But you're already at third base with less than 2 outs. You really take your team out of a big inning by doing that. One bad base running play can always do that.
Right fielder to the shortstop, to the third baseman, to the catcher. With that put out. So just like that, 2 men are gone. And here is Walt Weiss, the leadoff man. It's a sacrifice fly and a run batted in for Young, but it's also a sacrifice fly into a double play.
Right. Well, I mean, Walt Weiss would be hitting with runners at first and third now.
With just one out.
One out. Instead of, he's got to get a base hit now to drive in a run.
6-5 Rockies. That's a strike. Weiss didn't like the call. 0-2 the count. Well, this would be a key inning for the Mets if the Rockies only get the one. They had the bases loaded and nobody out. Gunderson delivers. Did he swing? Yes. The plate umpire made the call himself on that low slider, and that's the inning, and the Rockies just get the one. But they are back ahead. Rockies 6, Mets 5 with respective city, and now the newest one is here in Denver, and a man has been all smiles about it is Peter Coors, the CEO of the Coors Brewing Company. Hey, nice place you got here.
John,
nice going.
I don't think anybody could be happier than we are today to have the season starting here and to get things underway at Coors Field.
I mean, this ballpark, I mean, somebody had a vision. I mean, this place is fabulous. Who was it? Who made this thing happen?
Well, I think the fans here in Colorado and the Rocky Mountain region made it happen. HOK, the architects and the builders and everybody that had a hand in this, and it was designed for the fans. This is and they're the ones that made it happen, and that's the way it is. Well,
it's definitely fan friendly, and I like that. A lot of good restaurants and things like that. Why did the Coors family decide to get involved in baseball?
I'll tell you, you know, this is our home here in Colorado, but all over the country, this is important for us, and it's just terrific to have games being broadcast from Coors Field.
Now, you, I know, were very much involved in bringing baseball here, Major League Baseball. I mean, is there any, was there ever any doubt about Major League Baseball coming here?
I think it was exciting that it was not automatic, and it took a lot of people putting resources together and making it happen. Jerry McMorris was phenomenal in putting the pieces together, and I tell you, the Coors family, the Coors company, just very fortunate to be part of it.
Brett Butler is the hitter against the new Mets pitcher, or the new Rockies pitcher, I beg your pardon, left-hander Mike Munoz. Brett Butler 1 for 3 in his first game as a Met, and there is Munoz. It'll be Butler, Vizcaino, and Bronya. If anybody gets aboard, Bonilla is due up 4th in the inning. 6-5, the Rockies are back ahead, and despite blowing a 5-1 lead, starting pitcher Billy Swift could win this ball game. He's the pitcher of record.
And I think that's what Don Baylor had in mind. After they tied it up, he left Billy Swift in with a chance to win, and then they bunted to try to get the runners in scoring position for him.
1-1 to Brett Butler. Now, I noticed Bill White was here, the former National League president. Bill was here the day you guys broke ground here. He took a shovel full of dirt here on this site.
Bill was real important in making this franchise work here and the expansion here in Denver, and we're delighted to have him with us here today. What a great guy.
You've known Jerry. Sorry, you've known Jerry McMorris for quite a while too, haven't you?
Known Jerry for a long time. His company's been hauling our beer all over the country for years and years.
2-2 now to Brett Butler. Now, I mean, this franchise has been a phenomenon. I mean, in the big ballpark, the Mile High Stadium, you drew crowds like nobody had ever seen in the history of Major League Baseball. And I know at some point somebody said, well, maybe we ought to make our new park a little bit bigger.
Well, I think that there was a lot of enthusiasm for a bigger ballpark, but the job that was done here has been phenomenal in getting a ballpark that everybody can. There's not a bad seat in this house, and I hope anybody that loves baseball will someday be able to come here and see a game.
There is such a thing as too big as well as too small.
Peter Coors is here with us, the CEO of the Coors Brewing Company. And, I mean, Denver itself is not that big when you look at the crowds you get here. I mean, where do these people come from? They must come from all around. I've greeted people from the western slope of Colorado, from south and north, from out of town, California, all over the place. The back east, a gentleman this morning from Great Britain that was here just came to see the ball game. We're going to draw them from all over the place. Well, congratulations on a great ballpark. And I mean, what's the story now? I mean, from the top on down, are you guys expecting a pennant this year now? Well, I think Jerry's program is to give the Colorado Rockies the best possible chance that we can have to give a run at it, and we're just going to play hard all season and see what happens. It's like everybody else at this point. Peter Coors, again, congratulations on a great ballpark. It seemed to be a big hit. I think people around the country, as they see the pictures of this park and from our telecasts and things like that, are going to be very impressed. And you guys have done it up big again. Congratulations. John, thank you. Joe, good to be with you again.
Right. Thanks for stopping by, Peter.
Peter Coors. And he was very instrumental in bringing Major League Baseball here to the Rocky Mountain region. We met with somebody a little bit earlier who also had that dream about bringing big league baseball here 30 years ago. Bob Howsam.
Yeah, I was trying to get a shot of Bob. He was down there on the field, and Bob Howsam, of course, helped build the Big Red Machine into a championship team, and now he's a consultant here helping the Colorado Rockies.
1-0 to Vizcaíno. Now he takes a strike after showing bunt. The walk to Butler to start off the inning is the first walk received by the Mets today. Billy Swift in 6 innings never walked anybody, and then Munoz came in and he promptly walked the first man he faced.
Well, Brett Butler has received a lot of walks in his career, so
yeah, not so unusual.
Not so unusual to see him get another one here leading off the 7th inning.
Bronya is on deck, and Butler back to the bag. Remember, he's a threat to just go ahead and try and steal that base.
I don't think Brett will try to steal as much against left-handed pitching, John, as he will against right-handed pitching. As you say, he has lost a step, and he doesn't steal nearly as much against left-handers as he does right-handers.
1 ball, 1 strike, and he has to go back to the bag. 6-5, the Rockies out in front. This is the 7th inning. The Mets have had their leadoff man reach base in 6 of the 7 innings. But only 1 time did that man eventually come in to score. Another time, the man who led off with a hit hit a home run. So I guess you'd say he scored 2, but it wasn't as a result of being a leadoff man. The bunt, Galarraga thought about second, but went to first instead. Roberto Mejia with a put out. So the sacrifice has been turned in from 3 to 4. Pitcher to the second baseman covering. Butler now in scoring position, and Bronya to try and score him. Bronya homered in the 4th. The first home run at Coors Field, and the first Mets run of the game. And then his single in the 6th started the 4-run rally that tied the game.
John, I'm a little surprised that they bunted in that situation. You know, maybe a hit and run or something like that. But to bunt and to sacrifice and give up an out when you're on the road, you know, and you're basically playing for a tie.
On the road, you're supposed to play for the win. It's the book, right?
That's the book. Well, maybe he's smarter than all of us.
And Butler around third. The catcher, Girardi, did not know where the ball had gone initially. Wild pitch. Is the scoring on that play.
Well, let's take a look at this. It's a slider that breaks down and in the dirt. Girardi tried to block it, but it caromed off of his shin guard, it looked like, and he doesn't know where it is. But you'd think that there are enough guys in the dugout that would be pointing to show him where it was.
Now the possible tying runs at third, and the infield comes in. Fly ball can get it done.
And with the quickness of this infield, it's very difficult to play this shallow.
2-0.
In fact, I'm a little surprised that they're playing the infield all the way in, John. In a case like this, you might want to play the infield halfway so that you can protect against a cheap ball going through the infield, but you'd also have a shot at Butler at the plate, because Butler's not going to go on anything hit because Bobby Bonilla is the next hitter.
1 ball and 2 strikes now to Bronya. The Rockies bullpen gets busy again as Munoz faces Bronya. This time a right-hander is up out there, and it's Steve Reed. There he is. Bonilla is indeed on deck. Butler, the possible tying run at third base. 6-5, the Rockies ahead. Good strike 3. 2 down. Bonilla coming up. Here's Carl Ravitch with an update.
Hi, John. Thank you. MCI proof positive to Pittsburgh. We've already...
For Jim Leland and company. Here's Bonilla, runner at third. Bonilla trying to get that tying run home now. The infield back in normal depth. Bonilla again, first ball swinging. He's been hacking up there tonight. This one goes out of play along the right field line. Last year, Bonilla was outstanding in these kinds of situations. 351. And this is one of those situations now. He doesn't need the long ball. Just a base hit to get Butler home to tie it. And it's the first time in this game that Bonilla has taken a strike.
Well, he was working on that thou shalt not pass type of philosophy earlier in this game. That was a pretty good pitch. Started way outside and broke over the outside corner.
Thou shalt not pass, thou shalt not take. Trying to backdoor him with that slider.
That
1 and 2.
That is what you call an excellent 0-2 pitch. Almost good enough to get him to go for it, but not much he could do with it if he does swing at it.
Jeff Kent would be next. Stays outside, this time with a fastball. And again, Bonilla would not offer. 2 and 2. Another big moment of the game here. The Mets again having to play catch-up. There's Butler. The possible tying run. He's at third. And the game is tied up. Base hit right center. Butler scores. Bonilla's going to try for 2. Here comes a throw. And he is safe. Pretty good throw by Kingery. Great hustle by Bonilla. 6-6.
John, I've always felt that Bonilla was a better hitter in this type of situation from the right side than he was the left side. Because watch, he just puts this ball in play, goes the other way, and just lines it that way. He tries to pull the ball a lot of times from the left side. That's a good piece of hitting, and as you mentioned, good hustle. Kingery comes up, fires a strike to second base, right on the mark. But a good slide by Bonilla, and he beats the throw.
And Don Baylor, as you see there, yeah, very good call. Don Baylor heading out to the mound now. That's going to do it for Mike Munoz. That leadoff walk has turned into a run. And that's Brett Butler paying a dividend right now for the Mets. New pitcher coming in. We'll be right back. Too far from Mile High Stadium. There it is. As seen from Coors Field. You see the stands through the opening there. The mountainous backdrop. And, of course, here's this sensational new ballpark, Coors Field, right downtown. Maybe you could tell by the background there. Wednesday Night Baseball, the second part of our opening day triple header on ESPN. Still to come. Man, that's a lot of dimes to have to keep track of, Joe. There's the new pitcher, Steve Reed. On to face Jeff Kent. Because of the hustle of Bobby Bonilla, a base hit to put the Mets ahead. Line drive left center field, but there's Kingery. And the inning is over. 6-6. Billy Swift cannot win this one. The Rockies, Larry Walker, and then Andres Galarraga. So the Rockies are having the big guns coming up here. Neither catcher tonight has yet made an out. Todd Hundley 3 for 3 with a grand slam for the Mets. Girardi 3 for 3 with 3 scored and 1 batted in for the Rockies. So they've each been involved in 4 runs. It's pretty impressive. And they both caught the ball beautifully, I thought. 3-0 the count to Girardi. A strike. Now over at third base, Bobby Bonilla is shaded well over toward the foul line, which you'll see in the late innings of a tight ball game.
It's also very deep.
But over at first base, Bronya is not near the line at all. That's a foul ball. And Hasse, boy, he's got good hands. He's a former catcher. I saw Ron Hasse, Joe, when he was with Cleveland. It was late September. He was taking batting practice, and he hit a batting practice home run. He started jumping up and down, raising his arms in the air, and he said, "That's it. That's number 60." He'd been counting his BP homers, and it was late September. He finally hit his 60th. Center field, Brett Butler. By fiddle-dee-dee, Brett. Is 1 away. That'll bring up Walker with nobody on. It's the first time Girardi has been retired. 6 runs, 11 hits for the Mets. 6 runs, 9 hits for the Rockies. The Rockies have not yet homered in their new ballpark. Larry Walker, the new Rocky, 2 doubles, 2 batted in. High in the air, right center, but not deep enough. Everett near the warning track.
Well, he just missed that curveball. He was waiting for it. Looked like a pretty good pitch to hit. Just got under it a little bit. And watch this pitch. It's a good pitch to hit. It's a curveball, and it just breaks to the middle of the plate, middle in. And I guarantee you Larry Walker would like to have this pitch back again. He just misses it.
So that'll bring up Andres Galarraga. 2 down and nobody on. A right-hander is up in the bullpen for the Mets, Blas Minor. But for now, Green will stay with Gunderson. 2 low, ball 1. Galarraga has hit a comebacker. He's lined out to center, and he has singled home a run. He hit 2 homers here in the 4 exhibition games they played at Coors Field. Out of play off to the right. They were getting crowds of more than 30,000 here this last weekend for exhibition games.
Well, the enthusiasm here is just overwhelming. Like you said, you could have probably sold 70 or 80,000 seats today. But again, I think sometimes you can make the stadiums too big. I think this is an intimate stadium, and they've done a great job of just designing and building a very comfortable ballpark for the fans.
You thought the 80,000 seats at Mile High was a little too big?
A little too big.
Popped up foul.
I got it. I've got it.
And that's back in amongst the spectators behind the plate. Hundley had given chase to no avail. 2-2 the count to Galarraga. What a night for Todd Hundley. Another progeny of a former major leaguer. His dad, Randy Hundley, was an outstanding catcher with the Chicago Cubs. So good that they played him every day. Outside, Dante Bichette, another slugger, is on deck. He would be next. 2 down and nobody on. The outfield is backed up all the way around and straight away for the Cat. There's Bichette hoping to bat. The infield swung around toward third. A high fly ball. Butler now backpedaling. The wind gets hold of it. He's got it, and that's the inning. 3 up and 3 down. Good work by Gunderson. Still 6-6. We go to the 8th. Here's the new pitcher, Darren Holmes, for the Rockies. Right-hander. Been the closer off and on the first 2 years of the franchise's history. He was not very successful in that role last year. Never really did get it going. He is the 4th pitcher utilized by Don Baylor tonight. Joey's, I remember he used to have a very good curveball.
Yeah, he does have a good curveball. He's got a pretty live arm. He's kind of a mystery of why he wasn't good in the closer's role, because he does have good stuff. And he has, you know, to be a good closer, you usually have to have one dominant pitch or one pitch that you call your out pitch, and he does have a good curveball.
Don't forget now, another ball game yet to come tonight. After this one, we'll have the Astros and the Padres. Now here's David Segui. In the first 7 innings, the Mets leadoff hitter has reached base 6 times, 5 hits and a walk. Segui has 2 hits tonight, 2 for 3 with a run scored. Fastball from Holmes, a strike. Got a big motion.
Yes.
Darren Holmes.
Well, that helps him with the curveball because it slows his body down, lets him get on top of the curveball.
Over at first base, Galarraga now is over near that foul line, protecting against the extra base hit. 1-1. Carl Everett on deck, and then Todd Hundley has been the big man tonight for the Mets. Due up 3rd in the inning. 6-6. Inside, 2-1. Well, if a curveball is your big pitch and you come to a place in the light air where they say balls don't curve quite as much as they ordinarily would, that's not good for a curveball.
Not good.
Curveball pitcher.
But I've also heard people say that a curveball really doesn't break anyway. It's an optical illusion. So those may be the same people are saying you can't make it break in the high altitude. That one broke. Good curveball there by Holmes.
2-2.
Now watch this pitch. This is his curveball, and you see it go straight down.
And too low. Good discipline by Segui to lay off that pitch with 2 strikes.
Exactly. That pitch started in the strike zone, but broke sharply down and out of the strike zone.
Six to 6. We're into the 8th. And Holmes is in there for the Rockies. 3-2. Yeah, he threw him the slow curveball that time. Fouled back to the screen. Now Holmes is not afraid to throw that curveball on any count.
I think in a tie ball game with a hitter leading off, you have to be careful. You do not want to walk anyone in a tie ball game in the 8th inning.
3-2. And he walked him. He didn't want to, but he did.
Well, there.
2nd inning in a row, a leadoff walk. As they look in the outfield, the fans can look right down into the bullpens here. Check it out, and there is some bullpen activity. Doug Henry, formerly of the Milwaukee Brewers, now a Met, is warming up. That's the 7th time, by the way, that walk to Segui, the 7th time in the game that the Mets leadoff man has reached base. Now David Segui has left first base, and they're going to bring in a runner. It's going to be one of the Mets catchers, Brooke Fordyce, to come in to run. Nice performance by David Segui tonight. He finishes up with 2 singles and a walk, 2 for 3. He scored a run. Now Fordyce is in there. Brooke Fordyce, a New Englander, hit .262 last year. Norfolk. Nobody out. The batter, Carl Everett. The bunt, pops it up. Caught by Girardi. Well, that's the first time the Mets have attempted a bunt tonight where it didn't work. They've had 3 sacrifice bunts earlier.
It looked like a pretty good pitch to bunt. He just got under it. It was a strike.
You know, one of the delicacies here at Coors Field is the Buffalo Burger. Now here, not only is it tasty, Joe, but it's very low in fat, much lower than roast beef or Rocky Mountain oysters. Here is Todd Hundley, 3 for 3 with a grand slam. A strike. The pitcher due up next. Hundley didn't like that call. I could just tell by that look on his face.
I think if you're Darren Holmes, you have to make him hit a curveball in this situation. Just keep throwing it. As the first pitch was a curveball. I think he's proven to the Rockies that he can handle the fastball tonight.
6-6, top of the 8th. Fordyce dives back to the bag at first. Todd Hundley. You know, talking to manager Dallas Green before the game, and he doesn't really believe the Mets have the talent to overtake the Atlanta Braves and win the division. But he thinks that it is a good ball club, and they might surprise some people. And I asked him, I said, well, do you have any goals as to how good they should be this year? He said, no, I don't get into that. He says, if you say maybe we should play a little over 500 or at 500, what happens if you start winning and you're atop the division? Are you supposed to say, well, wait a minute, that's not our plan for this year, to win?
We'll have to get back to 500.
He said in '84 when he was with the Cubs, he didn't feel that they were good enough to win, but they did. They certainly have the starting pitching. If everybody stays healthy and performs up to expectations, well, they should be able to stay in most games. Don't have a whole lot of power, nor a whole lot of speed. But the pitching is going to make a ball club competitive day in and day out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Rockies, on the other hand, they've got a lot of thunder in that batting order, having added Walker. And really the question for them is, how well will they pitch? John Miller, Joe Morgan here at the World Cup of Skiing.
The Mets are prepared.
Downhill is next. Was the official Met stocking caps. There's Brett Saberhagen in the background there with the little goatee. Brett looks just smashing in that cap, doesn't he? He'll pitch the Mets home opener on Friday at Shea Stadium. Fan of the upper deck dropped that foul ball. Saberhagen. Saberhagen, when he was with Kansas City, used to keep a raccoon cap in his locker. He looked great in that, too. You know, I wish they'd send one of those up to us, Joe.
I don't think I'd wear mine tonight, John.
Oh, yeah, it's very warm up here in the booth. Two and 2 the count to Todd Hundley. Out on deck is Bill Spires, and he would be pinch hitter for the pitcher Eric Gunderson. It's 6-6 in the 8th inning. There's Spires. Fordyce, the pinch runner, is at first base. 1 out in the 8th inning. And that pop foul will come back out of play. A lot of empty seats in the upper deck. Down in out in right field now. I think there's been some wind blowing out in that direction. It just got too cold for a lot of those folks. You see the flags out there in left field, blowing right out toward right field. The second and third decks out in right field have suddenly become bereft of Rocky fans. There's a look at it. A lot of seats available out there now. The ones who stayed brought their blankets. Imagine that conversation, that couple we just saw up there, their blanket. Guy said, isn't this great being here at opening night? And also, do you have any feeling left in your hands? It's cold. 2 and 2 the count.
Well, obviously the Rockies think that the Mets may try hit and run, and they're trying to keep Fordyce close to first base. And you see Fordyce looking over at the third base coach, trying to make sure.
Again the throw. That's the 5th throw over there by Holmes. It's the Rocky sign above the big scoreboard complex, but some of the neon seems to have burned out, Joe. Little neon shortage here, apparently. Straight 3 boldly retire for the first time. Let's go for an update now to Carl Ravitch. On a sacrifice fly by Eric Young, but then the Mets tied in the 7th on a double by Bobby Bonilla. Now here is Bill Spires. Left-handed hitter. Pinch hitting for Gunderson, the pitcher. Takes a strike.
Darren Holmes seems to be making pretty good use of his fastball, John. He struck Hundley out with a fastball right on the inside corner after going away with a fastball and a couple of curveballs. So he's spotting the fastball well.
Left field. Bichette. Ball really carried out there, but he caught up to it. One man left for the Mets. Bichette will be coming up. It's 6-6. Here, Cubs beat the Reds underway still at St. Louis. Phillies 6, Cardinals 5. It was 6-1. Atlanta over the Giants 12-5. The Dodgers over Florida 4-2. Montreal leading Pittsburgh 6-1. The Yankees in that game seen earlier today on ESPN over Texas 8-6. Kansas City 5-1 over Baltimore. Boston shut out Minnesota 9-0. Milwaukee 12-3 over Chicago. And look at that score. Toronto 13 and Oakland 1. 7th inning in Toronto. Still to come, Detroit at California, and later on ESPN, Houston at San Diego. It's the new hand-operated scoreboard in the fashion of Fenway Park and Wrigley Field. Now here at Coors Field. The Oakland Coliseum also put in a hand-operated scoreboard a number of years ago. New pitcher for the Mets, Doug Henry, has come on, formerly a closer with the Milwaukee Brewers. Henry ran into hard times and now is with the Mets. Here is Dante Bichette, the dangerous right-handed slugger. Ooh, he was going for the big fly that time, Joe.
Well, he knew if he was sitting on the fastball, he got the fastball. Looked like it was up a little bit.
There's Joe Orsulak now in left field, replacing David Segui, who had been lifted for a runner. So actually he replaces Brooke Fordyce. 1-1 to Bichette.
They played Bichette pretty much straight away all the way around in the outfield and on the infield. Of course, they play him deep.
Check swing. Did he swing? The appeal. No, says the first base umpire, Joe Padilla. Amateur umpire. Now, Joe, let's say that you start a little band.
Yes.
And you play, you play at some weddings, things like that. You get paid, $100 or whatever. Does that make you
a professional?
Or is it just an amateur band who plays occasionally? 2 and 2. I mean, it's not like you're the Rolling Stones now where you make your living.
Well, I think if you take money for it, you're a professional.
So like when I was 11 years old, I was a professional paper boy.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Well, now that you mention it, I was. Down the left field line. Orsulak will have to play it off the wall. A stand-up double for Dante Bichette.
Well, he gets a fastball. It looks like it's up a little bit, about belt high, and he rakes it down into the corner. I mean, the ball's hit very hard. Orsulak thought he had a chance of cutting it off, but it bounced away from him, and Bichette has a leadoff double for the Rockies here in the bottom of the 8th.
Here now is Kingery, so he's got to be bunting, right?
Well, I would think so. It depends on whether Baylor thinks he can pull the ball. If he doesn't think he can pull it, he'll be bunting. Yeah, he thinks he can pull it.
He thought so, and he was right.
Yeah.
Look out! He's out on the tag by Bronya. Kent on the routine looking play made a bad throw, but Bronya saved it with the swipe tag. Down to third base is Bichette.
You should not bunt unless you think the guy cannot pull a ball. It's a high throw, as you mentioned. You see Bronya go up, come down, and taps him on the back. Good play. The reason you don't bunt is you give the left-handed hitter a chance to pull the ball in the hole or try to get a base hit to drive in and run instead of just giving the out up automatically.
Meanwhile, in the Rockies bullpen, the ace left-handed closer, Bruce Ruffin, has started warming up. The infield is in for the Mets. And it's ball 1 to Castilla. Ball not far enough away from Hundley for Bichette to try. Now, Bichette's a big guy, but he runs pretty well.
Yes, he does. He was running really well on the double. John, this is a situation where if you're the hitter, you have to make sure that you get a ball that you can hit in the air. You have to, the first 2 strikes. After you get 2 strikes, of course, you just try to put the ball in play. But you do not swing at the first pitch low and hit a ground ball to shortstop. Or the first strike you see. You make sure you get something you can hit out of the infield.
Well, that's not what he was doing there.
No, that's not the pitch to swing at either.
1 ball, 1 strike. Castilla came up in the minor leagues last year and hit .331 in 130 at-bats for the Rockies. And 1 the count. 1 out, runner at third. And Henry off the pitching slab.
Well, of course, they have to be aware that for a possible squeeze play here.
Two and 1.
And by the same token, you see Henry trying to keep the ball down. Throwing a couple of breaking balls, trying to keep it down so that if Castilla does put the ball in play, he'll probably hit a ground ball to one of the infielders. At least that's what Henry hopes.
Roberto Mejia is on deck. 2 balls and a strike to Castilla. Tie game, last of the 8th. Right to the shortstop. The runner will have to hold. Vizcaíno throws out Castilla, and Bichette is still there at third base.
Looked like a curveball that fooled him a little bit, and he hit the top of it, grounded the shortstop.
You know, Don Baylor, I mean, he excelled in those kinds of situations. He was an RBI man. Used to be a little frustrating for Baylor to see the approach there by Castilla.
Well, it takes a special type of a hitter to be able to handle those situations, to know what to do, to have the discipline to get the pitch that you want, to wait and get the pitch that you can hit in the air.
2 down, the infield back. Strike 1, Mejia 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch when trying to bunt the last time up there. There's Bichette over at third. You know, that's another. The Rockies really, I think, are going to miss Ellis Burks until he gets back, because they've got those big hitters, but Burks could make a big difference hitting behind the 3 of them. I mean, Bichette is going to be rather exposed hitting there in the 5th spot without Burks behind him.
Well, they're also going to miss Charlie Hayes. Charlie Hayes drove in a lot of runs for the Rockies the last couple of years, and he was one of those guys that hit 5th.
Yeah.
You know, so I really believe that, you know, we've talked about the fact they've added Larry Walker, and he's a good player, but they also lost Charlie Hayes, so they haven't added as much offense as we think.
That 2-strike pitch just off the corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Mejia. Pitcher due up next, and Jason Bates has come out on deck. That slider off the corner again by Henry. 2 and 2.
Henry has made some good pitches. By that I mean pitcher's pitches. He's got the breaking ball away, gotten the breaking ball away from the hitters, and the ones that were able to be hit were not able to be hit out of the infield. Now he makes a mistake right there. As soon as I say that, he got that pitch up, and Mejia missed it.
2 and 2. A moment ago, you saw Bruce Ruffin out there in the Rockies bullpen. There he is. Fans can look right down in there from the concourse above the bullpens out there. The bullpens are side by side out in right center field. You can watch him throw, and you can watch the game. Just got a piece of it. Still alive is Mejia, just barely. 2 and 2. 2 down. Bichette, who led off the inning with a double, is at third base. Out in center field and straightaway, much like at Camden Yards in Baltimore, they grow their own sod out there. So if they need to make a repair and bring in some sod, they have the stuff right out in center field. ago, and we got that last pitch at 94 miles an hour. Called a ball, 3-2. Breaking ball. Bonilla, tough play. Got him. Beautifully done by Bonilla. And that might have play by Bobby Bonilla for the game on the line.
Well, it's an excellent play by Bonilla. But watch the runner, Bichette. He did not take off for the plate. As soon as the ball is hit, he should be going. But look at that. He's stationary right there, which allows Bonilla to go to the plate. I thought Bonilla would come home with it. See, Bichette is just trotting, but Bonilla makes the play, and truthfully, that's the way to do it. You know that there's 2 outs. Go out and get the guy, get the runner, get the hitter. Good play there by Bonilla. I said at the beginning that he's a much better third baseman than people give him credit for. But because most people think of him as a hitter and not as a defensive player.
Dallas Green was saying that really the times he had problems, I think you might have said the same thing earlier, are in the routine plays where he's got time to think about it. But on the tough plays, he says he's turned in some sensational plays. Bruce Ruffin, the closer ordinarily, on the pitch now for the Rockies. Left-hander. He ended up being the closer last year after the lack of success by Holmes, and he had 16 saves a year ago. Right now he's just trying to save the tie. It is 6-6. The top of the order coming for the Mets in the 9th inning. Jason Bates has gone in to play second base. They made the double switch. Bates will hit 9th and will be due up first in the last half of the 9th. And Ruffin will hit in the 8th spot, formerly occupied by Mejia. So the pitcher will not be due up now until 9th in the next go-round. Here's Brett Butler. An infield single, a walk. He's been aboard twice and scored once. His on-base average so far as a Met is 500. And that's not that far over what they're hoping for the season from Brett. The Astros and Padres opening night at Jack Murphy Stadium following this game. Ball 1 to Butler. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bruce Ruffin, there was a time it looked like he was going to be a star for the Phillies.
Well, he was overpowering at that time, but then he had control problems.
He's could have gotten a new life here with the Rockies. He's a bullpen ace. 2-1 the count. Remember, the Mets in 7 of the previous 8 innings have gotten their leadoff man on base.
And when Brett Butler's leading off, you throw strikes, make him hit the ball. See, the last thing you want to do,
Did he bunt at it? No.
is to fall behind or to give him an opportunity to take a walk. Now, Brett Butler will make him throw 2 strikes now. He will not put the ball in play 3-1. There's no reason to throw him a lot of sliders when he's leading off in the 9th inning in a tie ball game. Make him get a base hit to get aboard. So he's not going to swing 3-1. You have to throw 2 more strikes, but he should have done that the first 2 pitches. What happens. You try to get him out with a couple of sliders early in the count. You fall behind, you end up walking him. And that's just not smart pitching there. You have to go after him with fastballs early in the count. You get ahead of him, then you may want to try to get him out with a breaking ball.
So for the 3rd time tonight, Brett Butler has reached base 3 times out of 5. Larry Bernard may well be thinking, Joe, you told him not to throw him those sliders.
Well, not early in the count. Get ahead of him.
Now Vizcaíno shows bunt, takes a strike. 8 times in 9 innings, the Mets leadoff man has reached base. 3 times in the first 8 innings, the man scored. Vizcaíno 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt. Rico Brogna on deck, then Bonilla after him. And again, Butler, who has the base stealing capabilities, but as you pointed out earlier, Joey, not likely at closing in at age 38 to try it against a lefty.
Yeah, he doesn't try as many steals against left-handers. And late in the ball game, I found in the last couple of years, he really does not steal bases late in the ball game. They will usually bunt him in the scoring position.
Nice bunt. Ruffin. And that's the out. Jason Bates, the second baseman, covering. It's the 4th sacrifice successfully executed by the Mets in this game.
And one other was attempted by Everett that was popped up. But you can't expect to get, your team to go 6 for 6 or 7 for 7. So they've done a good job in sacrifice situations in this ball game.
Here's John Franco, the ace closer of the Mets, now warming up. Led the league in saves last year. Tim Bogar. This is interesting. Bogar has come out of the Mets dugout to pinch hit for Bronya. Bogar, a right-handed hitter.
Pretty good hitter, too, John. John Franco, who re-signed with the Mets, their closer.
So Dallas Green, he only had 52 at-bats in the big leagues with the Mets last year, did Bogar.
But he's a pretty good hitter against left-handed pitching. I guess I should have stated that.
A strike. Bobby Bonilla is on deck. So Bronya, who hit a home run tonight and had 2 hits, lifted here for Bogar.
That was a good pitch there by Ruffing. Good movement on the ball. Watch the movement. You can see that ball explode down on Bogar.
2 strikes, no balls, 1 out, runner at second. In the dirt, knocked down by Girardi. It's interesting. You get 27 outs in a 9-inning game,
right?
And the Mets have given away 5 of them tonight with the 5 sacrifice bunts. I mean, that's more than 1 every other inning. Well, the 2 times of the pitcher, which is kind of standard, especially for a pitcher who can't hit, such as Bobby Jones. Tim Bogar facing Bruce Ruffin for the first time. Fouled it off. But 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You bring up a good point, John. Good teams use their outs judiciously. They use their 27 outs, and the team that takes advantage of them over the course of the whole season are going to score more runs. You have teams that do not have to bunt or sacrifice, that can hit and run or steal bases. They use those outs to their advantage rather than giving up the outs.
I think every bunting situation tonight seemed to be an obvious bunting situation. To the right side, Bates throws him out as Butler takes third. And now Bonilla. Try and bring him in. Don't forget, coming up right after this game, we'll be sending you to Jack Murphy Stadium. The Houston Astros will be taking on the San Diego Padres. Jeff Bagwell and the Astros, Tony Gwynn, and those former Astros now with the Padres. You saw Doug Drabek warming up out there. Drabek, Astros ace, will be on the mound in that one. Now here's Bonilla. You see he's hit Ruffin pretty hard in the past. A .392 career average against him. Now Joe, you could walk him here, but you got a tough right-handed hitter coming up next, so not that big of an advantage, I guess.
Well, you just try to make good pitches and hope for the best. But again, I think Bonilla's a good hitter from the right side against left-handed pitching with a runner in scoring position. I think he just tries to put the ball in play. I think he tries to hit the ball out of the ballpark too much from the left side. Yeah.
That's the base hit, and the Mets have gone ahead. Coming in to score is Butler, and for the 2nd time in a row, Bobby Bonilla, with 2 down, has driven in Butler with an important run. Back in the 7th inning, he drove in Butler with 2 down to tie the game. And now he's done it again in the 9th inning to put them ahead.
And if you remember back in the early part of the game, Bonilla was taking big swings from the left side trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Here you see a good level swing, line drive type of swing, and this is the 2nd time he's done that. He hit a ball in the right center with the same kind of a swing as last at bat.
Now Jeff Kent. Well, Jeff Kent had a pretty good year last year. He was off to a sensational start. He had been, what, 8 home runs in the first 3 weeks of the season last year. And in this spot, Baylor had enough respect for Kent not to walk Bonilla. 1 strike to Kent. This is the first time in this game the Mets have led. That's a base hit.
Just remember, John, all this started because you walked the leadoff hitter, Brett Butler, to start the 9th inning.
The same way it started in the 7th inning when Butler led off and got a walk in that inning.
There are certain hitters in this league, not a lot of them, but good leadoff men like Butler, you have to make sure, especially late in the ball game, that they hit their way on. You cannot afford to walk them.
Well, you know, in each of the last 6 innings, the Mets leadoff hitter has reached base, and 4 times in those 6 innings he has scored.
Well, that's the whole adage. The leadoff hitters score more than any other hitters.
Here is Joe Orsulak. Well, that's your best shot. The leadoff man gets aboard. You got a shot of bringing them home.
Well, you have your percentages go way up of scoring a run that inning.
I mean, there are a few things. I don't know if useless is the right word, but few things that have as little value as a 2-out single.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, unless it's Griffey coming up behind you, somebody like that.
Well, a guy can hit an extra base hit, but still, you're right.
They get the 4th, and you see up in the upper deck, there's a row of purple seats, which is rather conspicuous against all of those green seats all around the ballpark. Those fans are sitting in those purple seats. That means they are exactly 1 mile above sea level, 5,280 feet. In the Mile High City, there is a spot where you can sit and know you are exactly a mile above sea level. I don't think anybody will ever hit a fair ball up there. I mean, that's way up there. Way, way, way up there. There's John Franco, 30 saves last year. Would get a shot. If 2 men get aboard, Galarraga would get a shot. And Don Baylor is saying, man, we had a 5-1 lead in this game. And now they are trailing.
Well, when you hit against John Franco, you have to be patient. John Franco will only throw enough strikes to get you out. If you wait on him, he'll throw you a strike. But he will try to get you to chase balls out of the strike zone. He has a great sinker and a good hard slider. And if you watch, if he gets ahead in the count, he does not throw very many strikes after he gets ahead in the count.
You know, he really resurrected his career, too. I mean, 2 years ago, it looked like he was finished.
Right. But he's got a good fastball. Watch the movement on his fastball.
Jason Bates, up for the first time in the game, a switch hitter. Ball 1. He hit 286 at Colorado Springs last year with 10 home runs in AAA ball. And they liked him enough that they released the veteran Harold Reynolds yesterday and decided to go with Bates. Popped up. Right side of the infield. Bogar. The wind blowing it around, and he just does make the catch. The wind has created some problems here late in the game. Now he smiles, had it all away.
I was going to say, I don't know if it was the wind so much, John, as maybe he misjudged it a little bit. He's standing over to near the line, and the ball is moving back toward the infield. There are a lot of stadiums where the ball actually always drifts toward the middle of the diamond, and this may be one of them. But again, that's something that's new to the players because they haven't played here before.
1 out. Walt Weiss, the hitter. Ball 1. Bonilla playing very shallow at third, just in case Weiss decided to drop one down. He showed bunt there. You see Bonilla also over fairly close to that foul line. Fastball, a strike. You know, the Mets, it's tough to beat on these opening days. In the last 25 years, they've won the opener 22 times.
Well, if we would have known that, John, we could have just phoned this game in. Just phone the score in and save time.
1 ball and 2 strikes now. Joe Girardi is on deck. Houston and the Padres underway out in San Diego, and of course we'll be going to that game immediately following this one, so stay tuned. Dwayne Stats, whom we are proud to have join us here at ESPN, outstanding baseball broadcaster. He and Dave Campbell will bring it to you from San Diego.
Dave is from the San Diego area.
A lot of folks think San Diego could make a run for the pennant this year. Dodgers won tonight, by the way, in Florida, 4-2. Dodgers are 2-0. They've got the early lead, Joe. Only 142 more to go. 2-2 to Weiss. Bonilla has backed up at third now with 2 strikes, but still is guarding the foul line. 7-6 for the Mets, last of the ninth. Rockies fans may well be in a kind of a state of shock here. 5-1 lead. Their new superstar, Larry Walker, had a couple of doubles. 2 RBIs. Their new superstar pitcher, Billy Swift, was rolling right along with a 5-1 lead. 3-2 pitch. He walked him.
And that's the discipline I talked about that you need to have if you're going to hit against John Franco, because he will keep the ball down, 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 and get you to chase pitches out of the strike zone.
Fans, a reminder about the Tour DuPont tomorrow. The Tour DuPont. Here is Joe Girardi, 1 out, 1 on. They had the tying run, possibly the tying run, aboard. And Girardi takes 2 low. Ball 1.
When you hit against Franco, John, you have to zone in, so to speak. You have to make sure the ball starts above your waist, else it's not going to be a strike. And he gets you to chase that pitch, and right now you can't hit a ground ball. That's what he wants you to do. He's trying to keep the ball down, get a ground ball, try to get out of this ball game with a double play. So you have to show some discipline to make sure you get the ball up before you swing.
Well, Girardi has 3 hits tonight. 3 runs scored and a run batted in. There's Walker right behind him. And Weiss back to the bag again. Now Weiss has some speed, but he's not a base stealer. He stole 12 last year. He steals one every once in a while.
And this is not the situation that you're going to send him in, because you've got Walker on deck and Galarraga to follow him if you can get that far.
1-0 the count. Oh, it chased ball 2.
Yeah, and Franco will not give in, John, and hitters just can't seem to get that through their mind. He will not give in.
Well, Dallas Green would like to see him chase another one of those low ones and hit a double play ball to wrap this up before Walker comes up. A cold night. It's like winter is suddenly upon us here in Denver. Larry Walker. He would be next. Changeup. And it's 1-2.
He has not thrown a strike in this sequence yet, but it's 1-2. But that's the way Franco pitches. You will see him do this entire season. And it's just very difficult for hitters to lay off. His pitch is up and outside. Now he will not throw a strike. He will throw another sinker and try to get you to chase it out of the strike zone.
1 out. Weiss at first. 7-6 Mets. Last of the ninth. He struck him out.
Well, good pitch. That was not a bad pitch. With 2 strikes, you just about have to swing at that one. That one was up enough. Now watch. This one is just about the knees. You can see if maybe a strike is right on the borderline there. Good release there by Franco. Looked like maybe another changeup. Or he took something off the sinker.
Last chance for the Rockies, and here's Walker. Left-hander against left-hander. Walker has 2 doubles and 2 RBIs tonight. Ball 1. Can Walker be the hero in his first game? In his first at-bat here, he doubled home a run. In his second at-bat, he doubled home a run. He is 2 for 4 in his career against Franco, so he's rarely faced him. Weiss, the runner at first. He'll be going on anything. 2 down. Strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 down, last of the ninth. The New York Mets trying to go into the books as the winner of the first game. Played at Coors Field in Denver. Larry Walker trying to be the hero in his Rockies debut. 1-1 the count. Too low. Now, if Walker could just get aboard.
Right.
You've got the right-handed hitting Galarraga on deck. He doesn't have to be the hero, this Walker. I mean, this Galarraga, if he just gets a walk or somehow gets aboard.
I actually believe Franco's a little more, he's a little tougher on right-handed hitters than he is left-handed hitters.
2-1. And Weiss is back. The combination of Butler and Bonilla in the 7th inning, combining for a run. Butler walked and Bonilla drove him in with 2 outs. And then they teamed up again in the 9th inning. Butler led off with a walk and Bonilla brought him in with 2 outs. 2-1 to Walker. That's a base hit into the alleyway. They're going to have to hurry it back. Butler with the relay. They're sending it home. Sweet. It's tied up. Walker to third.
That is great hitting there by Walker. And as I said, I think Franco is a little tougher on right-handed hitters than he is left-handed hitters. He left this ball up and over the inside part of the plate, and Walker found the hole in right center field. Now watch this pitch. It's up and on the inside part of the plate. Right there. That's one of those pitches that almost says, hit me, and Walker does the job. Butler cuts it off, makes a good throw back to the infield, but he misses the cutoff man. Kent had to take it on the run.
Now here's Galarraga with a chance to win it. The right-handed batter, 1 for 4. That's the 3rd double of the game for Walker and his 3rd RBI of the game. And of course, this is the one they'll remember. 7-7 in the bottom of the 9th inning. Many twists and turns in this one. The first one at Coors Field. And the big cat, as everybody at Coors Field, is now standing. Popped up. In San Diego, as you saw, no score after 1 out there. Here, 7-7. There's been a lot of scoring. 10th inning. A bunt by Everett, and Ruffin throws him out. Larry Walker in his first game.
Batting 6th for Houston.
Putting the big one with 2 down in the 9th to tie the ball game. And as Walker went back out to right field at the end of the inning, a standing ovation for him from the appreciative fan. Listen to this. A lot of excitement generated by Walker in that 9th inning. The batter is Hundley, now swinging right-handed. He's had 3 hits tonight, including a grand slam. That tied the game back in the 6th when it was 5-1 for the Rockies. Strike 2. And Hundley really upset with that call. Oh, and 2 the count. Over at third base, Castilla, right over near the foul line, and back behind the bag. Pitchers due up next, but Edgardo Alfonso has come up, or has come out into the on-deck circle. Mets have the bullpen busy. That one is foul. Well, John Franco blows the save in his first game. And it's interesting, Joe, you had just mentioned he seems to have more success against the right-handers, and indeed he got Galarraga, but he couldn't get the left-hander, Larry Walker.
Well, I think he's a lot tougher on right-handed hitters than he is left-handed. Left-handers, if you stay in there, you can get a pitch to hit.
Whoa. Well, Hundley went back and gave some instructions to the umpire. Not that either one of those 2 pitches were obviously strikes, but they went Hundley's way. Foul ball. Out of the Mets bullpen, the right-hander Blas Minor warming up. It's an interesting way to warm up.
Yes, very interesting.
One I haven't seen to.
But whatever worked.
Usually guys just throw when they're out there. Warm-up is a very apt term tonight. We're all trying to warm up. Again, it misses. Just barely. The crowd is outraged.
Well, Girardi is also asking where that pitch was as well.
And so is Don Baylor, as it turns out. 3-2 now to Hundley. Down the left field line. Foul. He broke his bat on that one. 3-2, and Hundley will have to get another piece of wood. He wants to pick it out himself. The bat boy had a couple of pieces there, but Hundley said, no, I better pick this one out myself. This is important. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Joe, the Rockies, I mean, the question with them is, do they have the pitching? And right now, David Need is on the disabled list. He's an important man in their rotation. But maybe an even bigger question still is, and has always been with the Rockies, their bullpen.
I agree. But if you look at this, they had 1 bad inning, the 6th inning. Other than that, they've given up 1, and they could still have won this ballgame. That 1 bad inning really hurt them, but that was more with Billy Swift in there than the bullpen. The bullpen hasn't pitched as poorly as we might.
In the right center field, there's nobody out there. Let's see how quickly they get it in. Hundley is going to hold with a double. Kingery hurried the ball back in. Well, the new piece of wood had an extra base hit in it, and Hundley has 4 hits tonight. 4 for 5, and it's the 3rd time in his career that he's had 4 hits in a game. Probably the first time he's had 4 hits where one of them was a grand slam.
I would venture a guess to say that you're right.
A profitable discussion Hundley had after that second called strike.
And then go back and take a couple that were, you know, maybe just off the plate, as you say, but with 2 strikes, you usually have to go after those.
Now here is one of the top prospects in the Mets farm system, Edgardo Alfonso. And he takes a strike. Edgardo Alfonso has a brother in the Baltimore Orioles farm system. You know what his name is?
What?
Edgar Alfonso. But this is Edgardo. Center field. Hundley tags it second. Kingery's throw, and he beats it. Hundley had started to go halfway. Then he looked at his coach, Mike Cubbage, and then went back and tagged up when he saw that Kingery was squared up under it.
Kingery threw it over the cutoff man's head. He probably should have hit the cutoff man. They may have had a shot at Hundley at 3rd. But
you mean make a lower throw to the relay man, let him fire.
The cutoff man could have taken the throw and put a little more steam on it. But and this is why you want to get to 3rd base when you have a guy like Butler up who can bunt, who can beat out an infield hit. You can score from 3rd with 2 outs, where obviously you couldn't score from 2nd.
Brett Butler has been on base 3 times. Ball 1. Now we might also say, we're talking about the Rockies and their bullpen not being able to hold on to it here in the late innings, but the 2 times when the Mets scored late, it was Brett Butler starting with a walk. I mean, he started against a lot of pitchers with walks.
That's why I was saying it's not like they've pitched that poorly. They've given up 1 run. They haven't opened the floodgates or anything like that. They've given up 1 run here, 1 run there. That's not that tough.
I mean, maybe this weekend you got to hand it to Brett Butler.
Right.
I mean, he's good.
Now I agree. And Bonilla, they've done that before.
Butler got aboard. Bonilla brought him in. This is a new era for the Mets with a legitimate leadoff hitter in the dirt. Nice save by Girardi. He's got to save it now with that go-ahead run at 3rd base. 2-1 the count. Vizcaíno would be next. Now, in his career, Brett Butler has come to the plate against Ruffin 32 times and has reached base 19 of them out of 32, including 12 walks.
So that means he had 7 hits.
7 for 20.
So he's walked more than he's hit.
Yeah. Well, in the times that he's walked against him, he's 12 for 12.
Yes.
3-1.
see Ruffin take a look over to see who's on deck. And he finds Jose Vizcaíno.
It's the walk.
So that's 13 times.
He's now 20 out of 33 in getting on base in his appearances against Ruffin. Now here is Vizcaíno. Hitless tonight, but he's had 2 sacrifice bunts.
Now the Rockies have to decide if Butler does run, would they throw through to second base, or would they hold it and try to get the runner from third? Not your likely double steal candidates with Huntley at third base and Butler at first.
Strike to Vizcaíno. Now Vizcaíno has only 4 career at-bats against Ruffin, but 3 hits. And you get a look at the infield defense. Galarraga on the bag at first with Butler. 2 down, 2 on, 7-7, 10th inning. Ball 1. In the last half of the 10th, Dante Bichette will lead it off for the Rockies with Kingery and Castilla behind it. $14 hits for the Mets tonight. And the foul makes it 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tim Bogar is on deck.
Well, everyone on the infield goes in to talk now because this is a likely time for the double steal if you're going to do it with 2 strikes on the hitter and 2 outs. This may be the time that Butler would even delay steal or take off for second base, just trying to make something happen. So they want to decide, make sure everyone's on the same page as far as what they're going to do if Butler does take off.
1 ball and 2 strikes. That one.
And Girardi's really upset, and so is Don Baylor. Baylor comes up out of on the first step and yells at him. We'll take a look at the pitch.
Man.
Well, I'm not so sure, you know, that angle we can't tell.
But it is right where he hit the glove.
Right, that's true.
Didn't move the glove out for it. 2-2 the count. He struck him out. He took the fat one for a ball and struck out on the slider just above it. According to our thermometer, the official Wednesday night baseball thermometer, it's 29 degrees now at Coors Field.
Well, it's 58 on the field, though.
Well,
the turf is 58 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got down on your hands and knees and put your cheek right on the dirt, it would be 58 degrees. Yeah. But 6 feet above, I don't think it's any 58. You know, right where Blas Minor is standing there. And that is the new Mets pitcher, Blas Minor, and he'll come out to face Dante Bichette. You know, the Rockies have not yet hit a home run here in their new ballpark. Now, they've played some games here, but those were exhibitions. They don't count. This is the one that counts. This is the one that goes into the book. Swing and a miss. A mighty cut by Bichette. And the off-speed delivery from Minor. Yeah. Now, you don't think they think it's 29 degrees? These guys? That one guy has not had any feeling on his nose since the 4th inning.
Kids aren't that cold. Look at them. They're having fun.
There's a fly ball deep to left. And caught by Orsolak just in front of the wall. Well, the ball does carry here, doesn't it? That looked routine all the way back to the wall. Bichette is now 1 for 4. He had a double back in the 8th. And you see that wind is blowing out toward right field with some gusto now. In from the Rocky Mountains. I feel like at Candlestick they call that wind in from the Pacific the Hawk.
The real Hawk.
This is from the Rockies now, Joe. I should have brought some of our mountain climbing gear for this one. Mike Kingery.
Well, it's supposed to be 65 tomorrow.
Where?
Here.
Orsolak, he gets there. Now let's go to Carl Ravitch for an update. Carl?
Hi, John. Thanks very much. MCI proves positive to a great final inning in St. Louis. Cooper, who came over from the Red Sox, a St. Louis native. Scott delivers, and 1 run is in. Here comes the game-winning run, and Ozzie Smith is safe at the plate. And the Cardinals in the bottom of the 9th win it 7-6.
Wow. Exciting.
Spectacular finish. Cooper went in the Witten trade. Witten went to the Red Sox. It seemed to me that Carl had an earlier update from that game. It was 5-0 for the Phillies.
Actually, it was 6-0.
6-0.
So the Cardinals bullpen did a great job of holding.
Well, and some of their hitters must have done pretty well, too.
Right.
This is Vinny Castilla, 1 for 4 in the game. 2 down, nobody on against Blas Minor. It is 7-7 in the last of the 10th inning. The Rockies bullpen is busy. The pitcher is due up next. And Jim Tatum has come out on deck. He would pinch hit, apparently, if Castilla got himself aboard. 7-7, last of the 10th inning. One thing we were able to test tonight is that Coors Field seems to hold up well in a long game.
Yes.
It still looks good. The shortstop, Vizcaíno. They got a new look out there into the new ownership. They got palm trees. You hit one over the wall, you hit it into the palm trees there at Jack Murphy Stadium.
Well, same old look when Bagwell's hitting.
Yeah,
Picked
how
up right
dull.
where he left off last year.
Hey, Bagwell hit a home run. Tell us something we didn't know. We're here at Coors Field, opening night. And, of course, you just can't have a new ballpark without the private luxury condominium suites. And they've got plenty of them here at Coors Field. You know, I kind of like to have one myself tonight. It looks kind of warm inside that booth, doesn't it?
Yeah, but we get the real aesthetics of the ballpark by being here.
Yeah, we're out here in the cold, like people who've lost their minds. Tim Bogar facing Kurt Leskanik. Curtis Leskanik, the 6th Rockies chucker of the game. And it's a ball. On deck, Bobby Bonilla. And then Jeff Kent. So after Bogar, the Mets have some of their power coming up. It is 7-7 in the 11th inning. That's a foul out of play, off to the right and into the upper deck here. Pedro Castellano has gone into play third base and will bat 8. This is another double switch for Don Baylor. Pitcher Leskanik hits 7th where Castilla had been hitting. And Castellano will lead off in the last of this inning. Rockies jumped out with a run on the first. The Mets then fell further behind in the third. Rockies led 3-0 after 3 innings. There's a broken bat looper. Caught by the second baseman, Jason Bates.
Nice play by Jason. Sometimes when the bat is broken, you misjudge the flight of the ball. I think it's hit a little harder than it is. That's looks like a little slider. And Bogar hits it off the end of the bat. Bates gets a good jump, times his leap perfectly, and makes the catch.
Well, now here's a guy who could put the Mets ahead with one swing of the bat. And as you mentioned earlier, Joe, he often tries to do that when he swings left-handed.
And I mean, you can see the difference in his 3 at-bats from the left side today as compared to the at-bats from the right side.
His 2 doubles, actually 1 double and 1 single, that drove in the big runs. The double in the 7th drove in the tying run. And the single in the 9th drove in the go-ahead run, were achieved as a right-handed hitter. Did he swing? Yes. The plate umpire made the call himself, and now Bonilla gets into it with it.
Well, Bonilla is saying that he should ask the guy at third base. He's not questioning whether he swung or not. He said you should ask the umpire at third base. That's what he's down there for. I don't think there was any doubt that he swung, but he just wanted him to use the umpire.
Strike 3. did not go the
Well,
way
he
he
just
wanted.
threw Bonilla out of the ball game.
The plate umpire, Terry Bovee, followed Bonilla over there.
Well, I saw what happened. Bonilla threw his helmet down, and it happened to bounce back toward the umpire, but he didn't see it until he saw him. He looked over and saw the bat on the ground and the helmet, and then he threw Bonilla out. I think he did this the wrong way. Because he didn't see Bonilla throw the helmet. Bonilla just dropped it on the ground, and it bounced back towards him. And he looked down and saw it laying at his feet, and he threw Bonilla out of the game. And he's also thrown Dallas Green out of the game.
Well, Bonilla did not.
No.
He just kind of tossed the
Right.
thing behind him. He didn't slam it down.
No, he
or
didn't.
throw it at anybody.
And the problem is that Bovee didn't know that he'd even thrown it down there. He looked down at the ground and saw it laying there, and then he threw him out.
Well, here it is.
Now watch. Now watch Bonilla.
Yeah.
See, he just dropped it. Now, he didn't really do anything, and he walked away, and Bovee didn't see it. He still doesn't see it. It's laying there, and Bovee still hasn't seen it. And he looks down, and he sees it on the ground, and then he throws him out. See, Bonilla didn't say anything. He just walked away. See, he hasn't thrown him out yet. Now he sees it on the ground, and now he throws him out.
Yeah. Just there, he found out.
Yeah.
The toss.
Yeah.
Here is Jeff Kent. Well, Dallas Green only has 2 non-pitchers left in the bench. Kelly Stinnett and Ricky Otero. Stinnett is a catcher, and Otero is an outfielder. Jeff Kent, strike 2. Leskanic looks great here in this inning. 94 miles an hour that last pitch on the Jugs gun. So Dallas is going to have to do some juggling now.
Well, not Dallas. Someone else is going to have to do some
Oh,
juggling.
no, I feel like Dallas will still do it.
Well, you have to do it from other than on the bench. You have to yell it down.
He'll get that cellular phone out. Strike 3 call. Careful. Can't drop the helmet. It's 7-7. We go to the last of the 11th. Kid Bruce Premick ball game as soon as this one is over in Denver, Coors Field. And we're in the last of the 11th inning. The Rockies coming up with Pedro Castellano against the right-hander Blas Minor. Last of the 11th, 7-7. Swing and a miss, 1-1. And a new look for the Mets around the infield and outfield. We'll update you on that momentarily. There is Tim Bogar now at third base, where Bonilla had been. Bogar moving from first base to third base. Two and 1 the count to Castellano. Just a little too quick for Castellano, looks like.
Minor seems to have a good pop on his fastball.
Here's Orsulak now at first base, moving in from left field. And in left field is Ricky Otero, the rookie. He'll hit in Bonilla's spot, the cleanup spot in the order. The 2-2 pitch. Too high. 3-2. Orsulak will give way to Jeff Kent, and there is one away. Bobby Bonilla ejected after striking out, and he just kind of dropped the helmet down. Didn't angrily slam it.
No.
But that's when you get ejected, if you just angrily fire it down.
But even then, you're only supposed to be fined $100.
He still doesn't even know he's been ejected. Now it's... Yeah, I've got to go out and talk about this.
Well, once you get thrown out, you might as well get your money's worth.
And then, of course, Dallas Green also got tossed. The batter here is Jason Bates.
Well, usually, John, if you throw your bat down, they'll fine you $100. You throw your helmet, that's another $100. So If they thought he threw his helmet, it should have been a $200 fine, not ejection.
But I think that's the point, Joe. Thought
Yeah.
he threw the helmet down.
Right, but which he did not.
I mean, if you don't see it,
Yeah,
you don't call it.
Well, I was watching the entire time. He definitely didn't see it, and that's why it took him so long to throw him out. Because O'Neal dropped the helmet, and it kind of rolled back towards, home plate.
Dropped up, shallow center. Could be trouble. And Vizcaino makes it look easy after all of that. Two down, leadoff man Walt Weiss coming up. 7-7 in the last of the 11th inning. Each team has used 6 pitchers, but only the Mets have hit a home run. Bronya hit the first one in this ballpark, a solo in the 4th, and then Huntley hit a grand slam. It's like we had 2 games. We had 1 game prior to the grand slam, which was all Rockies. They were ahead 5-1 into the 6th inning, and since then it's been much wilder. The Mets eventually, after tying it on the grand slam in the 6th, fell behind in the last of the 6th, tied it up in the 7th, and for the first time in the game went ahead in the 9th, only to see the Rockies with the palm trees, yeah, beautiful, lining the outfield wall. The Astros and Padres coming up. The Astros are leading 3-0, as you saw a little earlier. Back-to-back homers, a 2-run shot by Bagwell, and then Derek Bell, the former Padre, followed it up with a home run. Yeah, and that's about right. After I thaw out, SportsCenter is probably next. No. The Astros and the Padres. Unless this one goes a lot longer, and then it will be SportsCenter next. We'll be updating you, though. We'll be keeping an eye on that Astros-Padres game as we bring you this one. See some of the other scores. There it is. Houston 3-0 over San Diego, last of the 3rd. The Cardinals with a great comeback over the Phillies. Montreal beat Pittsburgh. Terrible game for the Pirates, apparently. Giants got blasted in Atlanta. The Dodgers make it 2 in a row over the Marlins. Cubs spoiled the Reds' home opener. 2 strikes to Joe Orsulak, leading it off for the Mets here in the 9th inning.
Their bench strength is one of the reasons the Mets think they have a chance of having a good team this year. Guys like Orsulak coming off the bench, and of course Bogart. They have some guys that can do the job coming off the bench.
Those Spires.
Yeah.
Lesconic. He's got a pretty good arm, it looks like.
He's got a good arm, and he works quickly. I like that. Keeps his infielders and outfielders on their toes.
2-2. Popped him up. Soaring pop-up. That one was up there as high as Pikes Peak, I believe, Joe. 1 away in the 12th inning. And that will bring up Carl Everett. Everett is 1 for 5. He's had an infield single just ahead of Hundley's grand slam back in the 6th. He's also popped out a sacrifice bunt attempt, and he's been thrown out trying to bunt for a base hit. He's getting a start in place of Ryan Thompson, who's on the disabled list at the start of the year. Bobby Wine, we're told, bench coach for Dallas Green, is now in effect running the ball club on the bench since Green was tossed out. Bullpen activity for the Mets now. Some big guns will be coming up with the Rockies in the last half of this inning. Joe Girardi, who's had 3 hits, will lead it off, and then Larry Walker, who's had a big night, and Andres Galarraga will follow. And there's Remlinger, the left-hander, warming up in the Mets bullpen. Walker, of course, has had 3 RBI doubles in this game, including the dramatic 2-out double that tied the game in the 9th inning. A ball. 2-1 the count. Well, the plate umpire, the amateur umpires, you see Walker has taken a lot of heat tonight. That's a called strike with a breaking ball. 2-2 to Everett. But Joe, I mean, he's taking the heat and the wrath of the players and all that, but you know, he shouldn't be here. It's not, I mean, it's not his fault.
Well, they definitely should have the major league umpires here, but I think part of the confusion is that both sides have been yelling at him for the last 3 or 4 innings.
Running catch by Bichette in fair ground. Out number 2, and Randy Hundley's son, Todd Hundley, coming up. A big night for Todd. 4 hits, including this dramatic grand slam against Billy Swift in the 6th inning, which turned this game around.
Well, he got a fastball up and out over the plate, and he drove it into the right field stand.
He's had 2 singles, the grand slam, and a double. 4 for 5. This kind of looked like throwing a, is that a fork ball or is that a slider, Joe?
Well, it looked more like a fork ball. I couldn't tell. I couldn't see the spin on that one.
Or was that an optical illusion?
Yeah. Or,
third choice there.
Yeah.
And the fastball is tied 2-0 to Hundley. Kelly Stinnett is out of the on-deck circle. He is the last non-pitcher left on the Mets bench. High in the air, right center field, playable for Kingery. 3 up and 3 down for the Mets. Girardi and then that man, Larry Walker, the new Rocky. Does he have one last bit of heroics left in? 7-7 is the score. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan, your ESPN overtime telecasters. We
You're
sort of
right about
specialize
that.
in that, don't we?
Yes, we do.
You know, Joe,
Well, we're having fun.
remember a few years back we did the longest game in the history of the Kingdome.
Yes.
And now we're doing the longest game in the history of Coors Field. It's a record that won't soon be broken, I'll tell you. Blas Minor will face Joe Girardi. Girardi is 3 for 5. And behind Girardi is Larry Walker, who is 3 for 5 himself tonight. 3 RBI doubles. Girardi's had 2 singles and an RBI double. He scored 3 times. Out of play off to the right. Into the upper deck. 0-2 the count to Girardi. The Mets 7 runs, 14 hits, 10 left on. The Rockies 7 runs, 11 hits with 6 left on. We're in the last of the 12th inning. 47,228, the paid crowd at Coors Field tonight. More than 50,000 in the ballpark, including the complimentary tickets. And a foul. Still 0-2.
Well, Girardi is a pretty good hitter in that he tries to just put the ball in play, especially after he gets 2 strikes. And he really wants to get on base here for a couple of reasons. That'll open the hole up on the right side, you know, for Larry Walker. Plus, again, he can score on an extra base hit.
Vizcaíno. He got it. And so Walker will have to bat with the bases empty here in the 12th inning. Back in the 9th inning, there was a runner at first and 2 down. And his team was down by a run against John Franco. And he delivered in the clutch into the alleyway. And by the time they recovered it, the runner, Walt Weiss, was able to beat the relay from Jeff Kent. Very dramatic moment, an exciting moment. Walker had delivered the tying run. His 3rd double of the game. He fouls this one off. And Joe, that right field porch beckons a guy like Walker in this spot. I guess you got to keep the ball away from him.
Well,
here.
that's what Minor's trying to do. First pitch was away. Walker fouled it off to the left side. I don't know if he broke his bat.
Heading back to the dugout. I mean, you're not allowed to leave the plate unless the bat is cracked. So he's getting a new one. You can't just say, well, I want a new one. I don't like this one after all, unless it is broken. At least that's the rule.
That is the rule.
7-7 last of the 12. Now after Walker, it's Andres Galarraga. The outfield very deep for the Mets all the way around. Whoa. Got him chasing a bad one. 0-2 the count.
There's a split-fingered fastball. You can see it's going down, or you may call it a fork ball, but he's Yeah, that looks more like a fork ball because the speed is a little slower than the split-fingered fastball.
1-2 to Walker. Rockies have still not hit a home run in their new ballpark. Galarraga on deck. He fights that one off. Still 1-2. The Mets have Otero in left now, Butler in center, Everett in right, Orsulak at first, Kent at second, Vizcaino at short, and Bogart third. The fork ball. Nice pickup by Orsulak. Minor covering. Out number 2 before Galarraga comes up. Here's Carl Ravitch with an update.
Thanks, John. MCI proof positive to California. Detroit down 1-0. Juan Samuel. A Juan Samuel sighting. A 3-run shot off Chuck Finley. Juan Samuel has 9 home runs in the last 3 years.
All right, 3-1 Detroit out there. I understand that every seat at Anaheim Stadium tonight went for $1. Every seat in the ballpark. I wonder how many they'll put into the place. Remember, as the count to Galarraga is 0-1, we'll be taking you to Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego at the conclusion of this game, where the Astros lead the Padres 3-0 in the 4th inning. That's a drive deep in the right center field. Butler on the run. Makes the catch. Crashes into the wall and doesn't get up immediately. What a play.
Brett Butler makes the catch. Now watch his right shoulder jam into the padding there, but that's why they have the padding there. And he was stunned momentarily. He got up and jogged off the field after he went to break. But just an excellent catch there by Brett Butler. Yeah, Blas Minor has heard about how the ball travels, thought it was over. And as quite often happens, you know, Butler will be out to hit this inning.
And you know that spot that when that ball was hit, I mean, that's very deep out there.
Yeah, that's
415 the straightaway, but the fence doesn't just curve around toward the right field foul pole. It comes to a point out there. It's still probably around 415 or even deeper in that spot. See how the fence angles around out there. The batter is a pinch hitter, Kelly Stinnett, the last Mets player other than a pitcher off the bench, and he is retired. For 1 away, he's pinch hitting here for the pitcher, Blas Minor. And he also is the 21st player utilized by the Mets tonight. Remember, the teams are carrying 28 players for the first, not quite 3 weeks of the season. Most teams are using extra pitchers because the starters will not be able to go very long for a while. Both teams' bullpens are busy. Curtis Leskanik is on the mound for the Rockies, and he's facing Brett Butler, who has walked 3 straight times.
Of all the pitchers that we've seen come out of the bullpen for the Rockies, I think Leskanik has been the most impressive to me. He throws strikes, has a good fastball, has a real good arm.
1-1 to Butler. Butler has reached base 4 out of 6 times tonight with an infield single and 3 walks. He's scored twice. 7-7, 13th inning. That's high. Vizcaino is on deck. In the bullpen is Mark Thompson. A base hit into the alleyway. It'll be extra bases. Butler will pull up at second with a stand-up double as Kingery gets it back to the infield. First hit for the Mets since the 10th inning. And now for an update, here's Carl Ravitch. With the glove. Trick. Here's Vizcaino with Butler at second. A base hit could put the Mets ahead here. Vizcaino is hitless tonight, 0 for 4 with 2 sacrifices. The Mets numbers 3 and 4 hitters from the start of the game. Neither one of them are in the game now. Bronya, who hit a home run earlier and had 2 hits, is out of the game. They pinch hit for him in the 9th inning. And Bonilla was tossed out of the game in the 11th inning, the cleanup hitter. So Vizcaino trying to get it done. Butler at second, 1 out. foul off the left field line. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 13th inning. And at this point, Joe, it becomes sort of a war of attrition. You've used your closers, you've used your setup men, you've used your top relievers,
and the Mets have used all of their hitters, all of their bench players.
That's a base hit. And the Mets have gone back ahead. Butler comes round to score. Vizcaino challenging Dante Bichette, who's got a strong arm. He's out. But the run has scored, and it is 8-7 for the Mets. Vizcaino's first hit of the game comes in the clutch in the 13th inning.
And as soon as I praise Lescano, he gives up the base hit. This is a high fastball up and out over the plate, and Vizcaino just kind of slaps it in the left center field.
The batter, Tim Bogar, pinch hitter in the 9th inning. He is 0 for 2. 8-7, the Mets back ahead. Ball to strike on the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 16 hits for the Mets, 11 hits for the Rockies. The Rockies, Dante Bichette will lead off the last of this inning. And that's a foul out of play.
And that is the 3rd run that Brett Butler has scored in this ball game. All of them late in the ball game, in the 7th, the 9th, and here in the 13th.
It's been the Brett Butler show.
Yes.
Remember, he scored the tying run in the 7th, the go-ahead run in the 9th, and now the go-ahead run again in the 13th.
And when I talked to Bobby Bonilla before the game, that's one of the reasons he felt like the Mets, would be in line to contend for a wild card berth, because of the addition of guys like Brett Butler.
3-2 now. To Bogar. Otero would be next. Butler has been on base 5 times in 7 plate appearances in this game, including each of the last 4 times, and all of those 4 times were crucial situations. Talking it over with David Segui down there. There's a drive into left field. Bichette is going back, still going back. He makes a leaping catch. Now he'll try to find those seats. He'll be leading off in the last half of the 13th inning. The Rockies are down again. It is 8-7 Mets. We'll be back. You see the stands in left where he just caught that ball. He'd like to reach those stands with a long one now. The Rockies have not had a base runner since the dramatic game-tying double by Walker in the 9th inning. 10 straight Rockies have been retired since then. The last 9 of them by Blas Minor. Well, Minor has been lifted. And now it is up to Mike Remlinger. A left-hander is on for the Mets to face the slugger Bichette. Ball 1. Bichette tonight is 1 for 4 with a double and a sacrifice fly. Both he and Galarraga have been held relatively in check tonight in their home ballpark. Bogart deep at 3rd, hugging the line against the extra base hit. The outfield very deep. Popped up. Hundley comes back. But it's in amongst the spectators, out of play. Remlinger, the 7th pitcher of the game of the Mets and the 22nd player used by the Mets. There have been 40 players who've gotten into this first game at Coors Field. 18 Rockies.
A lot of players will be able to say, I played in that first game. Years from now, when they look back.
Vizcaino got him, 1 away. Now that's 11 in a row retired by Mets pitching. Now Kingery, who is not much of a home run threat, in only 4 last year. Remember, right after the game, we'll be taking you to San Diego, where Houston is leading the Padres 3-1. Bottom of the 4th inning out there. Drabek versus Bennis. At what looked like a jam-packed Jack Murphy Stadium. So stand by for that one. Ball 1 to Kingery. Interestingly enough, the Rockies in their own ballpark tonight have not hit a home run. A ball up and in. 2-0. Jim Tatum has come out on deck. He would pinch hit for the pitcher. Both bullpens are quiet. Remlinger throws a strike. 2-1 the count. The only home runs have been hit by Rico Bronya of the Mets, who hit the first one here, and Todd Hundley, who hit a grand slam. That's a foul down the field line and back out of play. 2-2 the count.
You know, surprising, John, that a lot of the fans have remained here. It's late in the evening and also very chilly here. But most of them are prepared for this weather. Look at the way they're dressed.
They know how to handle this weather.
Yeah.
Most of these people just went out and climbed one of the local mountains here yesterday, probably. Been doing some skiing all weekend. 3-2 pitch. Tap foul. Kingery battling to stay alive on that one. Sunday night, Joe and I will be in Seattle. Our first Sunday night baseball telecast of the year. We'll see Ken Griffey and the Mariners, Cecil Fielder, and the Tigers. That's a line drive. Base hit. Everett, fortunate that it didn't get past him. He almost made a terrible fundamental mistake there with a 1-run lead.
Well, if that ball does get past him, you're right. It would have been an easy triple, at least, for Kingery. The line drive. Now, Everett does a good job of making sure that he gets his body in front of the ball. So that is a good job by Everett. The ball looked like it hit in front of him, bounced up and hit him in the chest. So he was in front of it.
I mean, this time of the game, almost all of your defensive strategies are to take away the extra base hit if you can.
Keep the ball in front of you.
Give him one base if needs be, but don't give him 2 bases or more. Well, now pinch hitter Jim Tatum, the 41st player of this game. Pinch hitting for Liskanek. Ball 1. Tatum at .351 at Colorado Springs last year.
John, you're almost in the same situation now. You do not want a ball to go over your head and stay in the ballpark. Try to keep everything in front of you. If you're in the outfield for the Mets.
Now, the Rockies have only one non-pitcher left on their bench. That is Jorge Brito, the catcher. And Don Baylor's just hoping that that might become a factor right now, because if it does, it means they will have tied the game. Ball 2-0 to Tatum. And Hundley out to speak to Remlinger. Tatum, also a catcher, got into 12 at-bats, or into 6 games, and had 12 at-bats in the big leagues last year, hitting .250. He had 21 homers at Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is one of those ballparks where you get some inflated figures.
Yeah, kind of like Albuquerque in the Pacific Coast League used to be.
2-0 the count to Tatum. 1 out, 1 on. And Kingery back to the bag. Now, Kingery runs pretty well. Not a base stealer. But if they hit an extra base hit here, he's got a chance to score.
Well, the outfield is back deep. They're backed up pretty well, so they're going to try to keep the ball in front of them.
Whoa. He wailed away at that one, but he helped out Remlinger. That was ball 3.
Easily ball 3. You see Don Baylor a little disappointed at that swing.
Mets 8, Rockies 7. Last of the 13th inning, Larry Walker. Been a big night for him, but it hasn't been enough. 3 doubles, 3 batted in his first game for the Rockies. Base hit down the line. Otero chases it. They're going to wave him home. Here comes the relay. It's tied up again.
Well, so much for guarding the line if you're not 7 feet tall. That was a bullet down the line. And it got to the corner. And Kingery came all the way around to score. He actually scored easily. Tatum gets a pitch. Looked like it was a fastball in the middle of the plate. Yes, it is. And he drills it. It goes into the corner. Now, left fielder seems to have some problem. No, he didn't. He got it back very quickly, but no chance to get Kingery at the plate.
You know, I think, Joe, that what happened, he was waiting for a carom, and the ball just kind of died in there. He had to go get it. Cost him an extra couple of seconds. The batter now is Castellano. And leaving the game is Tatum. They're going to send in a runner for him. Omar Olivares, the right-handed pitcher who will be in their rotation, who have been with the Cardinals the past few years. He is the 42nd player to enter this game. And Castellano now trying to get the base hit to once and for all wrap it up. 0-1. 8-8.
I'm a little puzzled here, John, at why they're pitching to Castellano instead of walking him and try to get a double play with the next hitter.
Yeah, Jason Bates.
Well, the point being, you're giving him 2 chances to beat you, and if you walk him and Bates hits the ground ball, they turn over the double play, you would have only given him 1 chance to beat you. But even if you get Castellano out, you're still going to have to get Bates out or 1 more hitter.
Olivares, the runner at second, with 1 out. Struck him out, and they made short work of him.
Well, maybe they knew something that I didn't know.
He didn't look too good.
No, he did not.
I'm speaking a little baseball talk there. He didn't look very good.
Okay.
I meant. Jason Bates popped to first and popped to short. 2 down, runner at second. Slider low from Remlinger. Bullpen activity for the Rockies. If we go to the 14th inning, they'll have to bring in yet another pitcher. 1-0 the count. 2-0. Now the veteran Walt Weiss is on deck. You'd rather face, like the in the inning here, not have to face the veteran.
Well, you would think so. But I think right now their only concern is to get out of this inning.
Bates at 286 at Colorado Springs last year. That's foul. Hit it hard, but out in front of it. 2-1. Yeah, what a wild game. The Mets have come back, let's see, from 5-1 to tie, from 6-5 to tie. The Rockies have come back from 7-6 to tie, and now from 8-7. Keep thinking Michael Jordan will hit a 3-pointer here to end it. 3-1. Big pitch now, Remlinger. I mean, he could start over with the veteran Weiss. I mean, you can't give in to this guy.
Well, you're not supposed to, but he gave in 2-0.
To Tatum. Or do you mean to this
Bates?
guy?
Bates pulled it foul. He gave him a 2-0 fastball as well. Well, he doesn't give him the fastball 3-1.
Two men on, 2 men out, and Walt Weiss with a chance to be the hero. The winning run, possibly up there at the top of the screen, Omar Olivares, a pitcher. Walt Weiss has singled, hit a comebacker, had a sacrifice. He has struck out. He walked in the 9th inning and scored the tying run in that inning, and he grounded out in the 11th. 1 for 4 officially. He has scored twice. Batting right-handed now. He's a switch hitter. Wide of third. Bobbled. Got it. Out at second. And I said bobbled. He didn't really bobble it. I thought he was going to, but it was handled nicely over there at third by Bogar. 14th inning coming up. 14th inning. The only way the Rockies seem to score is if the Mets score first. Here's Mark Thompson, who's a starter with Colorado Springs last year, 8-9 with a 4.49 ERA. He's the 7th Rockies pitcher of the game. And this is unofficial now, but I believe he's the 43rd player in this game.
Well, it is unofficial.
It's between 43 and 50.
Yeah. Somewhere
in there. The batter is Ricky Otero. Up for the first time, he had to enter the game when Bobby Bonilla was ejected. So instead of Bonilla batting right now, it's Otero, the rookie. Dallas Green likes him a lot. He's from Puerto Rico. Mets had a real fine club in Double-A ball last year in Binghamton. A lot of outstanding pitchers. And Otero was there last year, hit .294. He had 9 triples and 33 steals. Not a very big guy.
The Mets have a lot of good young pitchers in their farm system.
Otero just turned 23 earlier this month. Slapped foul on the left field line. The Mets have no non-pitchers available on their bench. And they don't have many pitchers, for that matter. Only 2 other relief pitchers would still be available. Lohman and Manzanillo. That's a base hit for Otero. Oh, somebody better save that baseball for him. Ricky Otero on his first major league at bat slaps a single in the left field. Now, he stole 33 bases last year, 29 the year before, and 49 the year before that. Then they saved the ball for him. Brett Butler tracks it down. So congratulations to Ricky Otero.
Yeah,
major league base hit in his first major league at bat.
Had to go 14 innings for him to do it.
Bobby Bonilla had to be kicked out for him to get a chance to do it. Well, on Otero, I mean, they ought to try and let him run here, Joe.
Well,
you got Kent up right now, who could hit a home run. Orsulak is behind him. Now, if it was you, Joe, you'd be running.
Well, that's true, but I've been in the big leagues a little while. As a rookie, you know, you don't want to make mistakes.
You were a rookie, they would have sent you.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to make any mistakes.
The bunt.
That is interesting. They bunt with Kent.
The guy who can hit it out of the park. Dallas Green ejected from this game. Bobby Wine is supposedly running the ball club. Here's Bobby and Tom McCraw, the Mets hitting instructor, right alongside to the left of the screen there, and then Brett Butler. Brett Butler, who gets on base every time.
Every time. Especially late in the ball game.
I mean, they needed him every time he was up there since the 7th inning to get on base, and he did. And he scored 3. Fouled away by Orsulak. Base hit now. Would put the Mets back ahead most likely with a speedy runner at second. Orsulak is 0 for 2 since he entered the game. Two strikes. Orsulak, pretty good line drive hitter. Goes up there hacking, rarely takes a walk. "17 hits for the Mets, 13 for the Rockies. It's an 8-8 game in the 14th inning. That pitch does not count. Time taken and granted. Carl Everett is on deck. 0-2 the count to Orsulak.
Well, they play Orsulak pretty much straight away, except for the left fielder shading him a little bit towards the line and left.
We're working him out away. 1-2 the count.
Weiss is doing a good job. He's making sure that Otero doesn't steal third base. We got to look at the defense.
Bichette. Ball carrying, and he lost it. It's over his head. Otero got a late break. Here he comes, and he'll score anyway. Dante Bichette misjudged that ball. He thought it was going to be routine, and it carried well beyond him. A double for Orsulak. The Mets are back ahead, 9-8.
Well, what Bichette did was he cut straight across, John. He didn't take an angle to the ball. And the ball ended up going over his head. Now watch, see where now he has to circle backwards. He was cutting straight across, circle backwards, and the ball is over his head for a double. And the Mets take the lead again.
You know, we're in the 14th inning of a game that's been filled with base runners and runs scoring. And there has not been a single error in this game. And that's really the first kind of any kind of an error, although it's not scored as an error, that we've had in this game.
And this, we make a good point, because we've talked about the shortened spring training, that there would be mistakes made the first week or two of the season. And in this ball game, they have not made any physical mistakes. That's the second mental mistake, I would say. Earlier in the ball game, Castillo rounded third base. Got caught, slipped and fell. Yeah, which really took the Rockies out of a big inning potential.
Back in the sixth, and they had a chance to really stake themselves to a big lead again. They got only one run out of it. Out number 2 is Orsulak takes third. Everett is retired. Everett is 1 for 7 in this game. Coming up Friday, Outside the Lines play ball. ESPN offers a unique look at opening day from Fenway Park, Three Rivers Stadium, and the grand opening of Coors Field. Wow, I bet that'll be exciting. Plus a look at the rich history behind opening day in Major League Baseball. Bob Lee hosts the award-winning Outside the Lines program Friday night at 7:30 Eastern. But that opener at Coors Field was a wild one, Joe.
Yes, I bet it was, too.
The batter is Todd Hundley. They're going to walk him intentionally, switch hitter, with the pitcher due up next, and the Mets do not have another pinch hitter available. The Mets do have some activity in their bullpen.
Looks like Remlinger is getting his helmet on. So it looks like he's going to go up to bat.
Kevin Lohman is warming up in the bullpen, but Remlinger, here's Lohman. Remlinger is going to bat. And by the way, Remlinger, a lefty, the second man up for the Rockies. In the last half of this inning, the left-handed batting, Larry Walker. So ball 4 to Hundley. Big night for Hundley. 4 for 6 with a grand slam. So Remlinger will come up. It is 9-8 for the Mets. It would have been interesting if they hadn't scored yet in this inning, Joe, but the inning was still going. They wouldn't have a pinch hitter left. There's Hundley over at first, and you saw Orsulak over at third as Remlinger stands in. 9-8. The Mets lead in the top of the 14th inning.
Actually, because Remlinger is going to hit doesn't mean he's going to stay in the ball game to pitch.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for him to stay in if they don't want him to stay in.
Right. Well, now they sit down in the bullpen, so maybe he is going to stay in.
I mean, the only other guys who could hit would be one of the other starting pitchers,
right. And you might as well let the left-handed hitting Remlinger hit.
If they still had Dwight Gooden, they might use him as a pinch hitter if they wanted somebody. 2-0 to Remlinger. Thompson having a hard time throwing strikes to the pitcher. And that's a strike. 2-1. Orsulak at third, Hundley at first. We're in the 14th inning of the first game at Coors Field. Walt Weiss to Bates at second for the force out against Hundley. 9-8 the score. Can the Rockies come back and do it again? Girardi, then Walker, then Galarraga coming up.
Can you figure out?
Look at these beautiful dinette sets. Expensive? What if I told you they start at just $139? Or how about this sofa and love seat for just $489? Where can you get terrific bargains on quality furniture? You won't believe me anyway, so I'll show you these single mattress sets for just $119. Well, my time is up. What's the secret for new furniture at discount prices? the Front Range Indoor Flea Market. If you don't believe me, come see for yourself. 1420 Florida Avenue in Longmont.
The Golden Gate Bridge from Pacific Heights. Narragansett Bay from Ocean Drive, Newport. Lake Michigan from Lakeshore Drive. Atlantic Dunes from a beach house in Cape Hatteras. The Manhattan skyline from a Fifth Avenue penthouse. If you're covering the world's most beautiful views, make the world a shade more beautiful. Duet Honeycomb Shades from Hunter Douglas.
On sale now at Rosti Interiors, 14 North Main, Brighton.
That can help you achieve it are in the Wall Street Journal. For you, success might be more business than you've ever dreamed of. There's one source you can count on to help you reach it, the Wall Street Journal. Call now to order 10 weeks of the Journal for just $38 and get 2 additional weeks free when you pay with your credit card now. That's 12 weeks of the Journal for just $38. Call now toll free, 800-331-9600. That's 800-331-9600.
So how's it looking for the Blackhawks?
Well, it's a shorter season. We've had to put things together a little quicker. You know, we had to pick up the pace a little bit. But I think the guys adapted pretty well. You know, they've gained half a step.
MCI proof positive takes us to the warm climes of San Diego. Oh, nothing warm about that swing from Phil Plantier over the palm trees. It is now 4-1 Houston. 60 degrees there, fellas.
60. Ha! What do we care about 60 degrees?
A little too warm for me, John.
What is it, about 20 here? Yeah. It is 9-8 for the Mets. We go to the last of the 14. 43 players have been used in this game. 14 of them have been pitchers. Todd Hundley, a big night. 4 for 6 in a grand slam. Brett Butler has been on base 5 times and scored 3. And Larry Walker, 3 for 6, 3 doubles, 3 batted in, and he is up second here in the last of the 14th inning. This game is already the longest game in Rockies history. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Joe Girardi, 3 for 6 with 3 runs scored and a run batted in. The previous record was 4 hours and 32 minutes. We're now at 4 hours and 41 minutes for this game. Always like to be part of a record, Joe.
Well, we are a part of a record, Joe.
Let's go for the record.
You want to set one that they'll never break?
Yeah. We got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. It's still early.
It's only 10:20 here. We got 2 hours and 40 minutes before curfew here. In fact, they don't even have curfew. That's a base hit. Hold on. I mean, the pattern's been set. The Rockies only score if the Mets score.
You're right.
And Walker has done it once already in the clutch in the 9th inning. His 2-out double tied this ball game. And now he's got a chance to do it again.
Well, what do you do if you're Don Baylor, though? Do you bunt him over and try to tie this ball game, or do you let Larry Walker go ahead and hit?
I say that those fans there were right.
Okay.
Let him find the seats. Ball 1. And after Walker, you've got Galarraga. And after him, you've got Bichette. These are the big guns. There's the Cat. Girardi, a 4-hit game. 4 for 7. Larry Walker, 3 for 6. And the fans begin a Larry chant. Too low. 2-0 the count to Walker.
Well, Walker should get a pretty good pitch to hit here. And if nothing else, he can sit dead ready, sit on the fastball and nothing else.
Here it comes. 2-1. He got the fastball. Well, they've had everything here tonight in this ball game except that ultimate storybook ending for the Rockies in their home ballpark in their first game. Girardi back. The Rockies tied it in the 9th, and then they came back and tied it again in the 13th. Now we're in the 14th. They're behind again. 2-2. That's a
Pretty
tough
good
pitches,
pitch.
huh?
That was a good pitch there. Looked like a little cut fastball away from Larry Walker. Walker looked like he was looking for a pitch inside that he could pull. And that looked like a little cut fastball. You can see it move a little bit away from Walker.
He struck him out.
Another fastball.
Now the count. Now Galarraga has only one hit in this game. 1 for 6. But he hit a shot the last time up there that Brett Butler made a spectacular catch on to end the 12th inning. The outfield very deep. 1 out, 1 on. Right to third. Bobbled. Bogar. He threw to the wrong base. Everybody's safe.
You're right. Once he bobbled it, he still had a shot to get Galarraga at first base, and he took the wrong play. He could have still gotten Galarraga at first.
That is the first error of the game. It's both a physical and then a mental error.
Yeah. Well, it was more mental because he knocked it down. He had plenty of time to get Galarraga at first, but he still decided to go to second base. See, now all he has to do is pick it up and throw to first base to get Galarraga, but he tries to go the short way, and the hustling Girardi is in there ahead of the throw.
Now remember, Bogar's at third because Bonilla was kicked out of the game. Bonilla would have been the man called upon to make that play otherwise. Dante Bichette. 1 for 5 with a run batted in and a double. A base hit would tie the game most likely again. The game has been tied at 5, at 6, at 7, and at 8. We've had 4 different ties in this game. The lead has changed hands how many times? 3 or 4 times. Girardi, the possible tying run at second. 1-1. I don't know, George, is Bichette pressing a little bit tonight?
Well, it seems like he's, going for it or trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. But it's still opening day. I mean, everyone's excited. Home run hitters want to hit home runs. The base stealers want to steal bases.
This is still opening day?
This is still opening day.
Slider in the dirt. Saved nicely by Hundley. What a night for Hundley. He's done everything.
Yes, he has. Plus, he's caught 13 and a half innings.
He should be fresh and played the regular season
played
game in
8 months. Okay, all right.
Girardi, the possible tie run at second, and Galarraga, the possible winning run at first. 2-1 to the dangerous Dante Bichette. Way back, and there's the storybook ending for the Rockies. The Rockies have won it on a home run by Bichette at last.